This is R2D Tech and we're back again with another video today about the 16-inch MacBook Pro. So this 16-inch MacBook Pro has been a long-awaited update from Apple. The biggest change in terms of design from the MacBook Pro from earlier this year has been the 16-inch screen up from the 15.4-inch screen, which might not seem like that much, but it does make quite a big difference, especially when you want to multitask and open multiple apps. Other than that, not that much has changed. You've still got the same unibody design, the same space gray color, the same trackpad. They have updated the keyboard, the microphone, and the speakers, but we'll talk about those later. Another thing to mention is they have also made the body slightly thicker by just under 1mm. That's to house the new battery and also to improve the thermals of the laptop.
Probably one of the most exciting features about this 16-inch MacBook is the fact that they've brought back the scissor switch keyboard. Now that's great news because the butterfly keyboard which they previously had many problems. First of all, the fact that the travel on the keys was ridiculously small. And secondly, that dust got caught underneath the keys and rendered the keys unusable. So it's great that they've gone back to this scissor switch mechanism. Another exciting thing is actually the microphone on this new Mac. They've implemented a studio quality microphone which is actually great quality. And if you watch Jonathan Morrison on YouTube, for example, you'll see he did a video where he recorded the entire video on this MacBook mic and it sounded amazing, so they did a great job on that. Also on the keyboard front, they've now brought back the dedicated escape key, which is great news because the one on the touch bar always used to glitch out, so you could never click escape. And they've also brought a dedicated fingerprint sensor, which is also the power button now. In terms of speakers, they've now got 6 individual speakers, and they all work together with Dolby Atmos tuning now to produce a great stereo surround sound effect. And the quality is amazing, very crisp and loud, so that's great. And finally, one disappointment was the camera, the webcam, which hasn't been improved, but hopefully they'll change this on a future iteration.
You can't be serious, man. You cannot be serious!
So in terms of specs, Apple have actually got some really impressive numbers on this new 16-inch MacBook Pro. You can go up to 64 gigabytes of RAM, which is pretty crazy. You can have up to 8 terabytes of internal storage, which will actually be the same amount as the maximum you can order on the new Mac Pro, which is coming out in December. You also have a new 100 watt-hour battery, which is actually the maximum that you're allowed to take on a plane, which is pretty crazy. That should give you really good battery life. Other than that, the specs are pretty similar to the MacBook Pro that came out earlier this year. But due to that slightly thicker design, you should have better thermals on this laptop and therefore more reliable performance. Whereas with previous Macs, performance was a little bit unreliable with clock speeds dropping when temperatures got too high. Now the screen, although it's actually 16 inches now, it has the same pixel density and the same 500 nits of brightness, but the resolution is obviously slightly higher because it is a slightly bigger screen.
To conclude, the new 16-inch MacBook is a great buy, and in terms of price, it starts around £2,400, which is the same as the previous 15-inch MacBook, so they haven't carried on with the trend of increasing the price. It's actually stayed stable, which is great. Now, I think it's actually worth the money. It's a very premium build quality. The new specs are absolutely amazing. Getting up to 64 gigs of RAM on a laptop is absolutely insane. The battery is new and improved. And I think making it a tiny bit thicker for all of those extra features was definitely worth it. And you will hardly notice that at all when you're holding the laptop. So my opinion is that if you have that sort of money, you should definitely get this laptop, unless you're into Windows, in which case there are many other options out there for cheaper prices, like the Dell XPS, for example. You might want to consider something like that as well. That's it from us at R2D Tech. If you liked the video, please leave a like And if you really like the video, you might want to consider hitting that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you'll get more content like this in the future.